See Klaus Winkler. This is here. This. Now, if I continue filming myself, you feel some kind of like interpreting me as unsympathetic because I have here this thing because you follow your intuition, but in truth I'm nudging or pre-priming you or steering you into that under your perception filter. Because I'm not happy with something what I'm seeing here, because in the process of losing weight. Anyways, this is Seak Klaus Winkler. This video is an art performance as well as an art piece itself. An art performance, yes. And you are sitting on my Nordic walking stick, one of my Nordic walking sticks, which I became as a gift or a present from Sylvia. I'm sitting here in nature and relaxing and talking about art and freestyling that. So not having any ideas what to say about my art. I usually get hunches, not when I talk about my art. It was like the pattern I reckoned in the last weeks when I was filming myself. And those hunches is from what I'm seeing or hearing, and then that steers my thought process, or because I think is maybe, or I don't have any thoughts. It was just that my name triggers or steers me from outside. So Seak Klaus Winkler suggests there's a triangulation because the Seak A is large, so I have like a triangular, and then it's me, a signal, and another single, and that goes back to me again. So or a thought, another thought, and then to me. So and Seak Klaus Winkler suggests that those wings or signals come from outside of myself. And maybe then of course I also have thoughts of my own, but it's called the mental point of mental point of origin, der eigene Ursprungspunkt, der mentale eigene Ursprungspunkt. But maybe because my name is steering me to have not so much thoughts, which is not true, or maybe I don't reckon them as thoughts. I don't know. Let's talk about art. I can make thoughts. Say that. On the way here, I reckoned how everything is changing. So the question is, and I'm painting. I mean, at some point, I want to have lots of children. How to keep them away from the changing environment. Saying it like this. And how to organize that. That's the thing. Because I also want to have a lot of children. And then, and if it gets worse from the, change in, I don't want to use. I'm trying to not use buzzwords. Because the good thing is then I can still resettle into Switzerland or to somewhere. I don't know. But Switzerland is all. Yeah, I thought I should talk about art. Any ideas? Yeah, maybe what I often was doing in the past was thinking about patterns. What inspired me to do this or that? Am I living so messy or so raw? Because I also want to paint and work unhinged, and I'm simulating inside my studio where I live the rawness of the streets, and the rawness as well as the rawness of rural life and of historic times. Because in a clean home or anything, it's sterile, it's boring, as well as it's not inspiring maybe, or not living. Plus I was focused on painting, but I was also making things untidy and unclean when I was small, like real small, like hardly could walk, I guess. so this is connected with my name Claus, like something, Claus means also phonetically like something which comes out of something or goes into something, which is like things which are maybe in a cabin where the parents have their clothing or something like that. When literally there in those cabin boxes are then clothes themselves, which come on and off, which are carried or worn by people, and those people and these patterns, goes on and on. So it's like I'm following that intuition, as well as that maybe the grip or the handle to open the boxes look like a C. I don't know, or you can touch it. Or maybe I saw as a child, when I was a child, my mom opened it up and made it all, cleaned it, and so I went there and I don't know, made it untidy so she can clean it again. Yeah, I'm trying to help. Will auch helfen. I don't know. Out of this, it kind of inspired me to paint or for painting or something. I don't know. Or it's like deeper levels, like telling my mom, "You can't fool me. Make more children. It doesn't have to be that clean or tidy or something. This is just your bad conscience, Unfortunately, that was a bit of a problem. Yeah. So. Or am I painting those details because I consider those like wrinkles, which are also like detailed lines? They look like if you're a painter, you know this. You can trigger people into because it looks like stylized vulvas in a way. Same goes for like things like this. I don't know the English word falten. It's like this. So. And plus, I learned when I was a child that my grandparents and old people had had something lovable, and they were behaving lovely or nice and caring, and that's what I consciously combine with the positive emotions. Plus, when I was older and my 20s was here, so yeah, that's a connection. But it can also be my guinea pig. Or that those scale models or finer, refined models are were considered more optimal or look more interesting or something. Or when I was a child, I was playing with like cars and toys, looking from the bird perspective onto the little Matchbox cars and stuff. Or Matchbox is like it starts with Matchbox, but then when you get older, they have like better or more defined or more complex or better or more optimal looking or realistic looking figurines or cars or models that give me more structure, because I'm seeing those things and they program me in a way and give me like a structure to like an object has like structure, and that structure give me like a stop or a halt of thoughts. It's kind of like holding me together and giving me a moment of ease, or maybe it depends on how it's designed, So and this is like something I'm remodeling when I'm painting, because when I'm sitting in front of a paper or a canvas, I don't have that structure. So I'm in a way rebuilding a structure which I can also hold my thoughts and steer my thoughts but this is maybe then following my emotions, or my emotions are just markers, So, or should I steer myself what I'm painting there because I want to achieve something. And I'm not going by what good looks good or what feels good, but I go by what is my style, my brand, which is a totally different thing, which is also often my style, my forms. This is like a Seak A, so it must look like this, or I want to have it here like that, which is like ignoring anything else in a way. On the first view, on the second view, you always then do something in between and it changes everything. Or I'm painting something abstract or something where, am I steered by, am I trying to save myself or anchor myself or calm myself or am I trying to steer emotionally others? That's also the question. What kind of other thoughts do I have? I have like some fun takes. Maybe Claus Winkler. One effect from the art from Claus Winkler is it analyzes and reflects if people are how to say that, for intercourse in a non-reproductive way from like behind, if they are there clear or if there is something, or they still have to join the bathroom and maybe do a few showerings inside, that everything is like, or it's like, hey, I don't care, or who cares? So Seak Claus Winkler. So because leer also means empty or something, and klar means also klären, means also you checking someone out or making sure that there is like an intimate interaction. I'm talking now here Google stifle Google boomer English pseudo-conservative stuff. By the way, conservatives doesn't protect nobody and nothing. They're just the helpers and the democracy simulation of the leftist Bolsheviki. Anyway, so how am I steered from the outside? Ich say, I don't know. The most important thing is for me to always be productive with my art. That means if I don't want to paint like this because I'm bored, I don't have any ideas, or I'm lazy and I want to think, then okay, I switch to another technique, another medium, and do something else, which is also necessary, and work the same paintings to other paintings. So it's like a steady routine of being productive, and make use of different aesthetics and medias, and also use my imperfections or my inability for doing things as a stylistic tool or medium. There also is a good thing is when I'm painting with like lots of medias and techniques, so I can in a combination from this, it looks perfect while it isn't perfect, it's like sculpting. I mean, the way I'm painting is like sculpting, from dark to light, then again with light, then with another technique. In a way, it was also compensating. It's like, okay, I can't play any more computer because it's too addictive. Or the lessons I had from the addiction level, which I had when I had an Amiga 500, or in parts a little bit on the Mac then in the 90s, but that was nothing. And I learned from the Amiga times, plus in the end it was just about having the latest games. It was more like, I have this games, that games, and trading the games and stuff like that. And that was like the copied software, but it was obsessive addiction. It's like you see new YouTube videos and you put them in folders to watch them, but you don't watch the videos anymore. but the affection, the love for the forms, for the designs, for the pixels and everything. Also, then later on the Mac I bought from an art project. Was glad that there was just a few bad games on the Amiga, so it was really good and easy to focus on working. But still, the computer, yeah, it itches here. It's always taking away energy. Anyway, I kind of used my art as a substitute for not playing computer. And then I paint myself those visuals I loved from like arcade games, like R-Type 1, R-Type 2 and all these, or maybe also on the Mac then some games, I don't know what the names were, I forgot what it was. And so there's like this graphic icons like with the pixel look and everything, but it's not like the pixel look like from those street art people and stuff. This is like, I mean, like, I don't know. When you look on an Amiga screen and you see the R-Type plane flying, it's like also a little bit like blurry in a way. That look, I really like that in a way. And then this aesthetic and mindset, and yeah, I'm painting myself those scenarios, and in my head it's like the same thing. I connect with that memory, and then it's like that. It's the same as when I'm painting, and let's say I'm painting. While I'm painting, okay, I just have traditional things around me, more or less. There's always modernity in my view, of course. I mean, I'm listening, for example, something from an iPhone. But let's say there's like a wooden floor, a wooden brush. There's a canvas. There's an easel, or there's paint in glasses, old glasses maybe, not any fancy glasses from an art shop, but just like washed out marmalade glasses used a lot. Oftentimes there's dirt, dust. I'm wearing plain clothes, simple, maybe like a button shirt or something. I have a tea there in a metal cup, simple metal cup. My brain can then very easy, while hearing an audiobook while painting, connect myself into the times, let's say, of the War of Rights in the American South, or that time, or in the Wild West, or in the Age of Sail, or in the Napoleonic Wars, like Bernard Cornwell, Richard Sharp, Starbuck. Yeah, Civil Wars, like lots of like books, stories from people who've been there, like 13 Months in the Rebel Army, anything. Maybe also Tom. It doesn't matter if it's not necessarily it's historic. It can be anything else. It can be also Tom Clancy. I have like around 400 plus audiobooks, and it's just Audible on my Audible, and then I have also audiobooks on my iTunes, so I can do escapism. Then I'm in that world, or connected with that vibe, while painting. And my paintings that doesn't look like they're from that time. They're, how my paintings look like. So, but it's like then it's probably I don't know, some kind of vibe, feeling, flow. Yeah, and then I can paint forever, and not be here in this environment. And now here it's nice. The shocking part is how everything here is changing. It looks like they're exactly. I mean. So the question is creating as long as possible an island, a micro world at home, in their own home. And then when it gets worse, which area do we resettle and recollect ourselves? I mean, when there's lots of money, it's a must anyway. Otherwise, you would support the system here. And when you want to have children, I mean, I can't say what I think, and I would talk different. I don't know if this is clear. I'm just to give you a hint. For the last, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years, I'm more in the Anglosphere, watching content, of course also a little bit of the German-speaking world. And there in America, I'm watching those who have free speech. I mean, who like maxing the free speech, like, in a way that I'm not, so. The good thing is I can always, I can do my escapism into my working. That's the good thing. They have always something to do, and I'm never really finished. And even when I'm finished with the painting and it looks really good, and I know it's good, it doesn't mean that I like the painting. And then it doesn't mean it equals it doesn't mean it equals the effort in terms of what I can get out on a personal level. Of course, I learned a lot, and it's from a craftsman point of view. It's growth, pure growth. But it doesn't mean anything, considering like you work for a painting for, say, I just have a certain painting in my mind. I've featured it a lot of times in the last weeks. And that was lots of time investment. Because the thing is, I know from experience in the 90s or the 2000s, or when I take a few spray cans and I paint on a canvas maybe, or maybe also with other mediums, I can paint something quick and fast, which I would consider equal good, or even more optimal, and that's maybe then an effort of a few minutes, a few hours. That's also a realization. But now, when I've said this in the past also, but now comes in my mind, hey, where are the people who would buy that? Because the population gets, and in other countries it looks the same. And the main thing is to keep the main thing, and keep on keeping on, which means painting. So don't get, when I come here, when I appear here like demotivated or black pit or anything, it doesn't mean anything. I'm keep on keeping on, obviously. I mean, I'm also steered by what I'm seeing here right now, which is nice. It's nature and everything. Let's talk about art. I'm not really caring or thinking about people, or I want to achieve something with a painting. Never. It's more like the classical. I mean, I can now talk in a direction how my paintings are and how I think about my work. But then I can later on in another situation can talk also different about how I approach my art, and that is equal valid, and it's the same true, though both thought schools or ways of how I think I'm working are totally different, and they're different perspectives, but we are living in times where the people doesn't have the nuance to to listen that long or to understand it. Yeah. I started 3 years ago, with the scale model brushes, like getting thinner brushes. It was like, okay, I rocked down my brushes with that yellowish painting, the large one, and then I was like, okay, I have to get new brushes. And I think I don't know if I then bought scale model brushes, like this, like 0.001 millimeter, centimeter, or whatever, super small, like those man cave diorama master modeler, master diorama artists use for super detailed scaling, painting, like the figurine on a tiger tank, the face and everything. It was like, and then I worked like for hours on that. So I think before that I bought like a little bit like this, brushes like this, or it became smaller, and then I realized at some point, I mean, it looks great, and it's the most detailed I've ever painted, but it's like you can even go more detailed. Plus, you realize all the canvases or the possibilities of painting become much larger, and basically that means I don't have the lifetime to paint these painting all so detailed, especially when I then with the amount of painting with brushes, I'm going again to the same museums I'm always going, and in the past I felt like, haha, I'm above the medieval painters. They can't paint, look at they painted this and that. And then you realize when you have like your own level of time painted, when you have painted your level of time painted, you realize those medieval painters, I mean, they had also have studios with helpers, but anyways, they're still better than you, or they're more virtuos with the brush and with everything, and then you are humbled because you know now more than before about painting, so that humbles you and it makes you unhappy. Plus, you still like all kinds of other directions, which also look good. But you're also like owned by your own paintings because you have to continue working on them, or because you know what's good and what's not good, and you can fool others, but you can't fool yourself. Plus, you want to do it yourself, and you created situations where it just makes sense when you're painting it yourself. Plus, you realize how much time it's needed to paint like that, or for painting like that it looks good. I mean, there's also, I'm thinking while I'm talking like this, realization maybe I can do another layer. Also my Seak styles and everything, and my single letters, but then with a different painting technique. And then it will all look good, and it will be like, so good. Just trying to talk about art. Yeah. Yeah, why I'm so calm is because I look, and I'm not really into talking. I don't have a script, and I'm looking here at lots of green color in the middle of nature, and there is then blue and gray on the sky, and green calms the mind, and you can see lots of green tones. So I'm probably too much into ease, and yeah, so that's the reason why I'm so chill or so relaxed. What I like about painting, how I organizing myself, is that I can eject myself with an audiobook, with a new, just take a few paintings, or one painting, and start my working painting routine that I'm painting like with one thing on all kinds of canvases to keep them growing. It's like watering them or building one Lego block or one level or one thing on all paintings, or like a large group of paintings. And can, while doing that, listening to something interesting, or escapism, audio fiction, or parallel history or something like that. Or I'm using one painting and say, okay, I focus my energy because I need like a few banger paintings, or paintings which are more developed than the others, so I can use them online. That was in the past like that, to be a little bit more impressive, impress people, or to have like a wow on awe effect, which also worked, because then those paintings which had that like higher level, then also created like a reaction from the reaction from people, that they're like, oh, this is great, la di da di da. I never painted my paintings that they work good on the internet. That's also because my style was already defined before that, also before social media. And the screen and the layout and everything from the handies, from the cell phones. In Germany, the German word for cell phone is handy. Isn't really optimal. I mean, a close-up, yes, maybe. Yeah, the important thing is to disconnect from the world. I mean, in a way, I'm super hyper connected in terms of doing something or steering parts of my artistic activities in a direction. I now have to be careful how I formulate that, because I don't know how things here in Europe or Germany are developing, and then the system can frame you, because they can try. So the other direction, this side, I'm hyper connected with people, and I talk a lot with people. I have like a daily body count, or sometimes, of like talking with people. And then on the other hand, like completely disconnecting from the world and being like, I don't know which day of the week it is. I'm doing this since probably, I don't know, since 2000 or something, the year 2000. That's in 26 years. I mean, now I must. It's like painting styles, or my styles is like creating, let's say you are a teen or a young kid or a child, and you see like super cool vehicles, like super crazy spaceships, tanks, military vehicles, like crazy variants of crazy airplanes, like or specialty ships, like ships who can go like this and then go into the ground and become like a platform, or like ships who can transform into an oil rig, like not so much fantasy, like real world stuff, or special construction place vehicles, or really unusual cranes or caterpillars, or let's say like maybe World War II tanks. There's a photo I remember in France from a panther in the 60s or 70s, which someone put like a huge crane or a caterpillar on or something, and then in Russia they have crazy vehicles like this, or like, you know, in Star Wars they did the same thing, and this is like this effect it can have, plus those vehicles or planes or whatever that is, or ships slash the styles I'm painting, which are letters, abstracted letters. They have that look and that wow, and that's like, wow, it's so sick, and blah blah blah. And this is like I'm chasing that feeling or that vibe, and you're literally creating things like that, similar to those you have these days on Instagram, like illustrators and 3D illustrators and whatnot, which do like Space-tober or something, where they in October do like for 1 month like a global competition to create like each day a spaceship or something, and they have like all kinds of different techniques, like using everyday objects and transforming them into super cool, crazy spaceships. It's the same vibe with painting my styles in a way, while creating characters, or every form has a character. That's the same thing with cars, you know. You know, when you go over the street and you those cars, and some car in the Western world, I mean cars, you know, you have to look on the car, and your subconscious, your primitive limbic neuron brain sees an animal or a face, you know, because of the light and everything and the expression the car has, and that creates some kind of like trigger in you. Usually they're unfriendly, so you also look unfriendly, you know, when you have connected with your senses, or you're clear, and there's no shame, cripple, or guilt cult, or like matrix working in you, which like stifles you or makes you docile or anything, or numbs you. Well, clarity you might also uphold with certain words, so just do not, you know, that's why people wear skirts. Now I'm not wearing skirts, I'm wearing a shirt I have from my time when I was in the army, serving, that was in the mid-90s. I still have that shirt. A few months ago I couldn't, it was too tight, now it's fine again. And soon I will be under 120, I mean, yesterday was like 120.7 kilos, and like a half, or like 700 grams, and I'm on 120, and then I'm below. And the aim is to go on 85 or 90s, so it's another 30 kilo, 35. Then I look like a model. Oh, crazy. Yes, lots of responsibility. Yeah, which was also a problem, because for a long time when I was painting, compensating a lot of being alone, and then painting with brushes, which is different than when you are used to paint just with spray cans. Because with spray cans, you're in a literally kind of like toxic environment. You wear a mask and everything, so you can't eat anything. Which doesn't mean that after painting you're eating. But when you paint with brushes or with airbrush and with markers and with pencils, like ink pencils and stuff like that, or with the fingers, acrylic or oil with fingers, you like your subconscious doesn't know the difference between that pastry or liquid oil or acrylic, or it's like you are like 8 years old or 5 years old and you're with your grandmother and she's making like cookies or a cake and preparing a cake, and that's the dough, you know. So you're literally, and plus you have the colors, so you're all the time steered into eating, you know. It's like a constant thing. Plus my art can trigger also addictive or compulsive things. And I'm having like the C form in my name, which is like, and like form like this. This creates like appetite and stuff. Plus then all the triggers in the tools with what I'm painting, sitting maybe at a table with all the round shapes. It's literally like, sitting in a restaurant, you know, like a Chinese restaurant, and I'm having sticks in my hand or something. I remember I was one time when I was invited for Biennale in Shenzhen, in China. It was 2000, I don't know, 5, 6, something like that. 7, or 6 or 7. We was in a restaurant, me and my ex, my now ex, I was best friend, so which is the new woman in my life must also adopt her in a way. Since women are just interested in other women, it's perfect. I mean, not necessarily an intimate way, just normal in a general speaking. So we were in this restaurant, and I had the idea, well, the prices are so crazy low. But it was an expensive Chinese restaurant, but it was still ridiculously low. And I think for 100 or 120 euros, I ordered all the dishes they had. I mean, just for the sake of it. I mean, you see this in a way. Okay, I'm always on a budget. I'm under this pressure of being like Seak is sick or crazy, la-di-da-di-da. So I must create stories or in my life or collect experiences within my limited means, which are also a little bit like crazy or, I don't know, sick in a way. Not sick in terms of like ill, but more sick in terms of like, yo, that's sick lowrider car, how you lowered the roof and now it's like a truck and it has like the windows are like this, something like that. Which brings me again to the styles. My styles can also look like, or it's like elements from charismatic planes or from chopper bicycles, you know, where you make like a part thin and this and that and still letters. It's always letters, you know. It's like the first thought. Now I'm painting this letter, that letter, but then you also have like an idea in mind, or you want to change it in this thing and create it. And it's like building something, over exaggerating or minimizing something, and trying to hide that I don't really paint representation. I mean, I can, but not in a way I would love to do. Then with my styles, which I also would love to do, is painting like with oils, just landscape things in a rough way, like in a mixture between Kirkeby, Per Kirkeby from Denmark or Scandinavia. He died a few years ago. Nice pieces, it's but more abstract. And then the expressionist or impressionist, something in between. I could see that. I did that with a digital painting program when I had like when I had like a super small iPhone, an old iPhone. It was in, I don't know when there was that, 2012 or something. And I had like, or even earlier, I was like no money, nothing, and no paint, and I don't know, it was like really, in a way, also depressed. I mean, not working out. That was after my party phase. I had like a 2008 when I came back from Hong Kong. I had then a party phase of 1.5 years. Very very fast phase. And that was like 1 year, 1.5 years, just after hours and after hours, and like 3 days in a row every weekend or 4 days, but almost no alcohol, So and then at the time after that, for a few years, I was just focusing on working. I mean, I was also in that phase weren't working, but it takes also energy. And then the phase after that, it was just like full on, like really like a workhorse. In the studio, compensating that, and then came a phase where I don't know when that was, where I did like my first digital paintings with the finger, with the iPhoto album function, and it was like emulating also from here in this area, like basically like digital oil paintings with the finger, and I think it was like really relaxing in a way. Totally different thing, I'm painting since ever, but painting landscapes I really rarely did. And the interesting part is I did relatively a lot of brush painting, with placar colors, with watercolors. This is like typical childhood color. In kindergarten and in elementary school. Yeah, and it's super easy and relaxing. Yeah, probably it would be a hit because people then would love to have some escapism. Because when I'm painting or working in my classical Seak style, or what you know from me, it's like Seak form, Seak letters. It's like I mean, I'm not thinking about who's buying that or liking that. It's like I'm painting with this graph, creating them, or how do you want to call it, with this graph writer mindset. And that's like I'm doing this for me, and I know that other writers celebrating it because they have the same taste or also understand the letter thing, and it's like, oh yes, and this was like, so yeah. But you, the viewer, the art recipient, sees maybe something totally different in that. Something that for you it's not letters, it's anything else. It's just maybe okay, it's letters. Or, oh, okay. So yeah. Yeah, this will become this is growing into the essential thing is Abgrenzung. Like a grenze is like border, like how to border yourself from certain people, or people you want to, you want to do your own thing, and that's like massive. It was huge in the past too, but this is like crazy. It's like I'm in I don't know. Yes, I'm in a prison. Those prison movies. When I say it, I've painted in prison in Santa Fuhlsbüttel, one of Germany's oldest prisons. I don't know if it's traditional prison. I mean, I don't want to say one of the oldest because there's everywhere have prisons. It's like really known. It has like a building is from the emperor time. I don't know from how old it is, and we painted there like on a huge cinema canvas, a huge painting, and yeah, there's also lots of stories connected to that. Anyway, yeah, like from those American prison movies, it's like public life in the city. I mean, I'm not going to the city anyways. I'm avoiding it. I should maybe just to give German women the chance to present themselves. In terms of women, I probably would be more happy with women from Middle Germany, because they are from the mindset and they are less West extreme like they are here. I don't want to use any contemporary words for the modern women. Just a new approach for one video. Nice blue hat. Looks like someone is awake. And she looked good too. There's someone close coming. Holding my hand in my pocket. Hand out of the pocket. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's the ease of watching into green color. Plus, One thing is also how people are influencing or steering people, you know, or when they're trying to take influence in someone. So when someone talks with me and I know they want to influence me in a certain direction for some reason, I'm analyzing the words they're saying, you know, like the sentence as well as each word on its own. Like I'm really dissecting it. And sometimes I'm doing that for like a full week, or like just the same word over and over again. That in a way that it would make like full-on spectrum people who have autism blush, that they take notes how real autism is done in that way, you know, like so. And just to, and then I'm following, and then when the thought comes up again, I'm again dissecting the words and playing with the letters and what other letters are connected with that, what effect they're having, and that's like it's scary because I could become a public speaker now, or in terms of what's going on here in the Western world. I mean, I'm trying to make this video exactly not about that, but I can become like huge. But that's not about, that would be take too much away from my art. Or I could just dissect or become like a teacher, or like become probably a successful YouTube account with this dissecting of words and stuff like that, and how I'm working with that and how I'm thinking it. I mean, I should then probably would also do selling that knowledge. But it takes away too much from my way, from my way. Not there. So, but I can also what I'm also doing is I'm doing this with buzzwords, and also like what kind of other words are inside those words, or connecting with that, or where those buzzwords are coming from. Okay, and then what you have to do then is also counter research that go beyond the AI. And what's helping is to get to the end of the rabbit hole. Oh yeah, and at the end of the rabbit hole, the T is spoken silent every single time. And something I came up with, you know, the word West, like W-E-S-T, the E-S-T in West stands for every single time. Yeah, that's like the, you know, when the lie is getting out of bed, the truth is rolling 2 times around and still sleeping a little bit longer, while the lie is already preparing breakfast, it's coffee, and it's already having lunch. And then the truth stands up and gets out of bed. So yeah. I was so close getting that when I was in my teens, because there was like there was like they, and then it was like, who are they? And I was like, oh, and I was like, and the TH was like, oh, and then it's like, what, tiny heads or something? I was like deducting it, because my theory was, you can, every word, even though it's like deflecting or anything, holds, even when it's not saying who or what it is or whatever it is, it also, in the letters, in the very single yet, there's also the truth hidden. It's like, and I think that came from the realization that if you see someone with an expensive watch, like really expensive, or like an expensive car or anything, they are literally or basically they're projecting something, but in what the truth is, they're showing they're projecting something, and but they are the very opposite of that. And out of that, and plus the Klaus Winkler, I had this like magical belief, and I'm still having the Klaus belief. Back then, I think it was before I created Seak. I had this realization that Klaus Winkler, in the word Klaus Winkler, it's like a laser who opens up everything and goes through everything and deducts everything, which makes you very popular with people because everybody is afraid because everyone has something to hide. And everybody, I don't want to even direct any thoughts or anything. I'm just so that, yeah. Plus, yeah, I don't know. It's still about art, With art, there's a medium. It's the same way, like on how many levels you can interpret a painting. And that is something I would also love to talk more and longer with people who have a different opinion on certain things like me. Not just because I can bring them into a path where they then come to the same conclusion, because it's the truth. Also because, and I'm just talking about like art now, also just art or like art with an NPC or filter that do not think in that direction. Like kind of boomer truth, but intellectual interpretation of art, to have different perspectives on the same things. You see the same picture, but it has all kind of different connotations. Like, for example, I'm giving you a hint. If you take any painting, a master painted in the, let's say, let me take a time frame, 16th, 17th century. My take is, because they painted it for other people and must have getting bored. And then what I observed is that in every painting they literally were hiding, on two levels, sexuality. On a hidden level, which the insiders then understood, la-di-da-di-da, and it was like, literally like hyper-coded porn, but indirect with symbols, and we know this, it means this, la-di-da-di-da. Not talking about that. I'm talking about like another layer behind, so that the painting itself, landscape, and then it looks like a vulva or like there's a form, and then you watch like this. Okay, on that level. And they did that so that their clients are buying the paintings, or that the wife of the client, when they take a look, or should we buy this or that? I don't know. It's like, and he memorized that visual. And in the same portraits or like landscape, but in that it's like another forms are hidden, and those forms, and if you look at his wife, the subconscious of the wife reads that thought, and because it's a woman, or vice versa, they say yes. And that's because like you can paint something and everybody sees it, and everybody sees maybe a second level, but there's maybe like a third or a fourth level. Maybe it doesn't matter if the painter is conscious about or not, and that's the level who also is there and programs people as equally loud. So basically, for example, if you have just like someone passing by who has like a nice everything legal. Hey, and very practical, and it's even because I'm an artist, and it's painting. You could also paint here in the ground. It's beautiful sketches and stuff, drawings. Oh, yeah, it looks good. I was like, so anyway, so that's the interesting part in painting. That I reckon you learn a lot about how the brain works or the psyche works. Like you paint something, but then there's other forms inside, and then people behave a certain way after they've seen a painting, or they have looked into your face, and then you look into a painting. You look then into another person, and you reckon, oh, interesting, this person's behaving like this, but they didn't saw the painting. They just saw my look in my face, and so the face expressions you had in your face programmed the other person, or the painting itself. And then you see that in the painting there are hidden things inside, which maybe even stuff you didn't even have planned, and then you learn something about thoughts and effects and patterns and how you can steer people's thoughts with visuals, and then you reckon how less control people have about their own things, where you then ask yourself, wait a minute, what was first there? The conversation or the painting? I mean, the painting, the conversation didn't steer the painting, but the painting then steered the conversation. Yeah, it's the same with colors. There was a time when I had arguments with people, or people saying something, and then I could, or like a woman was like complaining something and saying something. Then I was then telling her like, yeah, blah 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 blah, and I completely could deduct her whole thought process, conversation, arguments with the colors she saw and the forms she saw and everything. Yeah, so that's me being super calm, even more than an hour talking about art. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. I'm quite, tired and relaxed and eaten too much. Almost no carbs. Could have drank more coffee, and I'm also relaxed in a way. And those colors also trigger like being like relaxed. So, yeah. See you later in the next video. Thanks for your attention.